It was not long ago when Filipinos speaking English were the subject of ridicule and jokes. Their unique version of the language, often filled with mismatched accents, quirky sentence structures, and words that seemed to defy the norms of English, was dismissed by many as funny. To outsiders, Filipino English was nothing short of a punchline, an oddity in the global conversation. But today, the world speaks a version of English that bears more than a passing resemblance to what was once deemed comical. It is the language of business, of pop culture, and even diplomacy. How did it happen? How did the world go from mocking Filipino English to adopting it into the fabric of global communication? Is it possible that what was once perceived as funny is now the very language that drives the world forward? Before we dive into this fascinating journey, let me ask you, the viewers, have you ever noticed the way English sounds when spoken with a Filipino accent? Maybe you've heard it on TV shows, in movies, or even in business calls. It might sound distinct, with a melody that rings with the unique history and culture of the Philippines. So what makes Filipino English different? What did the world once find so amusing about it? And why is it now being spoken on nearly every continent? Let's take a step back in time. The roots of Filipino English trace back to the early 20th century. In 1898, after the Spanish-American War, the Philippines became a colony of the United States. This marked the beginning of a cultural and linguistic transformation. The Americans, keen on establishing a stable colonial government, introduced English as the primary language of instruction in schools. Over time, English became not just the language of governance, but also of business and daily communication. But while Filipinos quickly became fluent in English, it was never quite the same as the English spoken in the United States, the UK, or other English-speaking nations. The influences of Tagalog, Cebuano, Ilocano, and other Filipino languages, along with the rich cultural tapestry of the Philippines, began to mold a unique form of English. It wasn't just English, it was Filipino English. The way Filipinos speak English has its own rhythm, a distinctive cadence that blends seamlessly with the country's diverse dialects. To the outside world, this was strange, even funny. The Filipinos' take on English was seen as an anomaly. People laughed at how Filipinos would pronounce certain words or structure sentences differently from native English speakers. Take, for instance, the Filipino habit of saying comfort room instead of the more common restroom or bathroom. To outsiders, it sounded odd, but to Filipinos, it made perfect sense. After all, the literal translation of comfort room in Tagalog is a place for comfort. It didn't matter if it was an American or British term. What mattered was the practicality and logic of it. And isn't that what language is all about? Communication and understanding? Yet even as it became a part of everyday life, Filipino English faced its share of challenges. The more it spread across the archipelago, the more variations it developed. While those who spoke it may have felt at home in its rhythms and nuances, the rest of the world saw it as just another oddity, nothing more than a cute quirk of a colonized nation. But here's the interesting part. The same things that made Filipino English funny were also the seeds of its global rise. The peculiarities of Filipino English, its distinct accent, its vocabulary, and its sentence structures, gave it a unique flavor that caught the attention of the world. So, what changed? How did this funny version of English evolve into the global lingua franca that is being spoken across the world today? Stay with me as we dive deeper into this fascinating story. Before we do, though, make sure to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on all the incredible stories we have to share with you. Now let's continue the journey. The 21st century brought with it an explosion of digital communication. Social media platforms, websites, and online forums transformed the way people from all corners of the globe interacted. One of the key aspects of this digital age was the increasing use of English as the default language of the internet. From Twitter to Facebook, English became the primary medium of online interaction, regardless of where you lived or what your native tongue was. Filipino English, with its unique sound and quirks, started to infiltrate this new space. It wasn't just being spoken by Filipinos anymore. It was being heard and seen by people from all over the world. Memes, videos, and even viral moments where Filipino English was featured made it more recognizable and, yes, even lovable. It wasn't just a funny language, it was fun, full of personality, and easily adaptable. People began to see the charm in the distinctive way Filipinos used English, and it began to spread far beyond the borders of the Philippines. One of the key factors in the rise of Filipino English was the role of the Philippines in the global call center industry. By the early 2000s, the Philippines had become the world leader in outsourcing, particularly in customer service. The country's ability to provide skilled English-speaking workers at a competitive price led to a massive influx of international companies setting up call centers in the Philippines. This not only put Filipino English on the map, but also gave it a global platform. Filipinos working in call centers and customer service jobs in the Philippines would speak with an accent that was easily understood by English speakers around the world. However, it wasn't just the clarity of their English that made them stand out. It was also their warmth, their politeness, and their unique way of speaking that resonated with people from different countries. It wasn't long before Filipino English began to take on a more globalized form. What was once considered an oddity became a force to be reckoned with in international business and customer service. But there was another factor at play here, a deeper cultural shift. Filipinos by nature are an incredibly sociable people. Their ability to connect with people, even from different cultures, has been an integral part of their success in the global economy. They didn't just speak English, they spoke it with a warmth and approachability that made it easy for people from all backgrounds to understand and embrace. But perhaps the most powerful example of Filipino English's impact on the world came from the rise of global entertainment. Filipino entertainers, actors, singers, and even influencers began to captivate the world stage. Think about figures like Leah Salonga, whose powerful voice resonated in Broadway theaters, or Charisse Pempenko, who gained international fame after being discovered by Oprah Winfrey. As Filipino celebrities began to rise in prominence, so too did the Filipino accent and way of speaking English. But here's the thing. As Filipino English grew in popularity, it did so in unexpected ways. It wasn't about imitating the American or British way of speaking English. It was about embracing the uniqueness of Filipino English and making it something that belonged to the world. And now, here we are. Filipino English is no longer a joke or an afterthought. It is a powerful tool of communication. It is spoken in boardrooms and online meetings. It is the language of global brands, international films, and viral memes. But how did we get from being the punchline of a joke to being at the forefront of a linguistic revolution? Keep watching, because in the next part of our documentary, we'll dive deeper into how Filipino English is shaping the future of global communication. How is it being embraced across industries? And what impact is it having on the way we think, speak, and connect with one another? Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Stay tuned for the continuation of this incredible journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. As we continue our journey, we'll uncover the fascinating ways in which Filipino English has not just survived but thrived in the global landscape. The world, once skeptical and amused by its quirks, now finds itself embracing it as a cornerstone of global communication. But what exactly is driving this phenomenon? Why are companies, creators, and even global influencers flocking to this version of English? The answer lies in the very nature of the globalized world we live in today. Filipino English is not just a language, it's a cultural bridge. As the world becomes more interconnected, the need for a common language has never been greater. English, traditionally the language of business, academia, and diplomacy, has evolved. It's no longer about speaking the perfect version of the language with a crisp American or British accent. Instead, it's about communication and connection. and Filipino English excels in that department. Let's take a step back and think about why English in general has become the dominant language in the world. At its core, English is the language of opportunity. It's the key to unlocking new markets, new ideas, and new relationships. But the way the world speaks English today is vastly different from how it was spoken just a few decades ago. Accents, dialects, and regional variations have merged, creating a diverse, multilingual form of English that's less about conforming to a specific standard and more about mutual understanding. Filipino English is uniquely positioned within this trend. Its widespread use, especially in business, has made it a crucial player in the international workforce. In the Philippines, English is the medium of instruction in schools, and it's widely spoken in both formal and informal settings. The language is taught with a particular emphasis on clarity and ease of communication, making it accessible to people from all walks of life. But what sets Filipino English apart from other versions of the language is its warmth and familiarity. There's an ease with which Filipinos speak English that invites others in, a natural friendliness that resonates across cultures. It's this blend of clarity and approachability that has made Filipino English an attractive alternative to more rigid or formal versions of English. For example, think about the rise of outsourcing and call centers. The Philippines has become a global leader in outsourcing services, particularly in the customer service sector. Why? Because Filipino English is understood by people from all corners of the globe. The neutral accent and friendly tone make it easy for international customers to engage with Filipino workers, creating an atmosphere of trust and ease. This widespread adoption of Filipino English has turned the country into a hub of global commerce, with Filipino workers now in demand for jobs all around the world. But it doesn't stop there. Filipino English has also carved out a place for itself in the world of entertainment. Filipino singers and actors have long been recognized for their talent and charisma. But in recent years, Filipino celebrities have found themselves not just performing in English-speaking countries, but also influencing the way English is spoken. Take, for example, the rise of Filipino-American artists in the global music scene. Artists like Bruno Mars and Charisse have redefined what it means to be a Filipino in the world of entertainment. Their success has helped bring Filipino English into the global spotlight, showing that this version of the language is not just a regional oddity, but a powerful tool for self-expression and connection. And then, there's the explosion of Filipino content on social media. Whether it's through YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok, Filipino influencers have become an undeniable force in shaping global pop culture. Their content, often infused with Filipino English, has resonated with millions of people worldwide. The language of these influencers is not confined to traditional forms of English. It's an evolving, playful, and authentic way of communicating that connects with audiences on a deeper level. Filipino English has become the language of fun, of memes, and of viral moments, helping bridge cultural gaps and create communities around shared experiences. But there's an even bigger picture here, one that speaks to the future of communication itself. Filipino English is a prime example of how languages evolve when they are allowed to grow and adapt to the needs of the people who speak them. This isn't just about a shift in pronunciation or vocabulary. It's a shift in how we think about language altogether. Filipino English represents the blending of cultures, the intermingling of ideas, and the breaking down of traditional linguistic barriers. It's a living, breathing entity that reflects the world's increasingly interconnected, diverse, and dynamic nature. So, what's next for Filipino English? As the world continues to embrace it, there's no telling where it will go. One thing is certain, though. It is here to stay. The world's understanding of English is no longer limited to the traditional models set by colonial powers. We are entering an era of linguistic fluidity, where accents, dialects, and local variations are celebrated, not stigmatized. Filipino English, with its warmth, approachability, and global reach, is helping to lead the charge. But this isn't just about language. This is about culture. Filipino English is a reflection of the resilience, creativity, and adaptability of the Filipino people. It's a language born out of colonial history, shaped by migration and transformed by globalization. It's a testament to the Filipino spirit and the power of communication in all its forms. As the world continues to speak Filipino English, the question remains, how will this shift in language influence the way we see each other as a global community? Will Filipino English become the symbol of a new, more inclusive way of communicating? Or will it remain a quirky oddity that has found its place in the hearts of millions? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure. Filipino English is no longer the punchline. It's the language that unites people across continents, and its journey is only just beginning. So, as we move forward in this new era of communication, let's ask ourselves, what can we learn from the Filipino way of speaking English? How can we use language to build bridges, foster understanding, and connect with others in ways we never thought possible? As you ponder these questions, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. We've got plenty more stories like this one, and I don't want you to miss out. The world is changing, and language is at the heart of it. What's your role in shaping that change? Let's keep this conversation going, and who knows, maybe the next time someone calls Filipino English funny, we'll be the ones laughing all the way to the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.